The slap echoed across the shimmering surface of the community pool like a gunshot in a library, freezing every splash and laugh into stunned silence. Little Mia's cheek bloomed red under the relentless July sun, her tiny hand clutching the edge of her floatie as tears welled in her wide brown eyes that mirrored Luke's own, the ones that had first caught Zachary's heart a decade ago. "You tell that little monster to stop splashing my perfect lawn chair," Karen hissed, her manicured nails still glistening from the strike, oblivious to the smartphone in Zachary's fist, capturing every venomous word. Zachary's heart hammered against his ribs as he lunged forward, the phone slipping from his grip into the shallow end with a pathetic plop. Water sprayed up in a chaotic arc, mirroring the storm brewing inside him. Luke was already there, scooping Mia into his arms before the first sob escaped her lips, his broad shoulders tensing like coiled springs under his faded Mets tee. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Luke's voice cracked the air, low and lethal, the kind of tone that had once commanded boardrooms in his Wall Street days but now guarded their fragile family like a fortress. Karen, HOA President Karen Whitaker, with her bleached bob and perpetual sneer, didn't flinch. She straightened her oversized sunglasses, perched like a crown on her Botox-smooth forehead, and crossed her arms over her monogrammed swimsuit cover-up. "That child of yours was endangering my property, splashing like a wild animal. Someone has to teach manners around here." The words hung heavy, laced with that insidious subtext Zachary had grown all too familiar with in Willow Creek Estates, "Your child." As if Mia, adopted from a foster system that had chewed her up for 3 heartbreaking years before they fought tooth and nail to bring her home, was somehow less entitled to this slice of the American dream. The pool deck erupted into murmurs, neighbors averting eyes or whispering behind cupped hands. Old Mr. Hargrove from down the block coughed into his fist, pretending to adjust his towel. The Millers, with their golden retriever and 2.5 kids, exchanged glances that screamed, "Not our problem." Zachary knelt in the water, fishing out his phone with trembling fingers, the screen fogged but the video intact, a godsend in this godforsaken suburb where every blade of grass was policed like a crime scene. "Get away from my daughter," Zachary growled, rising to tower over Karen, water dripping from his board shorts onto the concrete. At 6 feet 2 inches, he cut an imposing figure, his runner's build honed from dawn jogs along the Hudson trails, but it was the fire in his green eyes that made her step back. Those eyes, Luke always said, could unravel a man's defenses faster than any touch. "You just assaulted a 4-year-old. We're calling the cops." Karen's laugh was a brittle shard of glass. "Assault? Please. This is a private community matter. I'll have you reported to the board for harassment." She flicked her wrist toward the cluster of lounge chairs where her cronies, the self-appointed enforcers of Willow Creek's unspoken code, nodded like bobbleheads. But beneath the bravado, Zachary caught the flicker, a glance at the security camera mounted on the clubhouse wall, the one she had insisted on installing last spring to deter vandalism. Luke cradled Mia closer, her small face buried in his neck, her unicorn floatie bobbing forgotten in the pool. "Zach, the footage," he murmured, his breath warm against Zachary's ear as he leaned in. It was their shorthand, born from late-night talks after Mia's nightmares, when they'd replay home videos just to remind themselves of the joy amid the chaos. The nanny cam in Mia's room, the Ring doorbell that caught the mailman's every wave, tech-savvy habits from their city days that now felt like lifelines. As sirens wailed in the distance, someone had already dialed 911. Zachary pulled Luke aside, their hands brushing in that electric way that still sent sparks after 8 years. "We've got her," he whispered, nodding toward the drowned phone. "The whole thing. Audio. Video. Crystal." The arrest unfolded like a bad Lifetime movie, Karen's protests dissolving into shrieks as the officer, a burly guy named Ramirez with a no-nonsense mustache, cuffed her wrists behind her back. "Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent." Flashbulbs popped from iPhones held aloft, the neighborhood's voyeuristic glee turning the pool into an impromptu press conference. Mia, oblivious to the spectacle, tugged at Luke's shirt. "Daddy, why the mean lady yelling?" Luke's jaw clenched, his dark curls falling into eyes that shimmered with unshed rage. "She's just having a bad day. Peanut. Let's get you some ice cream." He shot Zachary a look, "We'll talk later," and headed toward the gate, Mia perched on his hip like a shield. Zachary lingered, watching as Karen was marched to the squad car, her empire of covenants and fines crumbling under the weight of her own pettiness. For a fleeting moment, triumph surged through him, hot and righteous. Willow Creek had been their compromise, a quiet suburb an hour north of Manhattan, close enough for Luke's consulting gigs, far enough from the city's pulse to raise a family. They'd poured their savings into the Colonial on Elm Street, painting Mia's room in soft pastels, hosting barbecues where laughter drowned out the isolation. But incidents like this peeled back the veneer, exposing the rot beneath, the whispers about those two dads, the passive-aggressive notes about lawn ornaments that didn't fit the aesthetic. By evening, the story had metastasized online. Willow Creek's Facebook group exploded. "Did you see what happened at the pool?" Karen finally got what was coming. Posts piled up, some cheering the takedown, others decrying cancel culture in our backyard. Zachary scrolled from the kitchen island, a glass of bourbon sweating in his hand, while Luke tucked Mia in upstairs. The video he'd uploaded anonymously had racked up 5,000 views in hours, comments flooding in, proud of these dads standing up, and about time someone called out that bully. A chime from the doorbell yanked him back. Through the peephole, Todd Whitaker, Karen's husband, all paunch and polo shirt, shifting awkwardly on the porch. Zachary opened the door a crack. "Not a good time, Todd." Todd's face was a mask of forced contrition, eyes darting like he expected pitchforks. "Zachary, look." Karen's distraught. "Bail hearing tomorrow." "She didn't mean. Save it." Zachary's voice was steel. "Your wife hit our daughter. There's no didn't mean about it." Todd deflated, rubbing his neck. "I know. But we're neighbors. This place is supposed to be family. For all of us." The words twisted like a knife, echoing the very lie Willow Creek sold. Unity, regardless of who you loved or how you built your home. Upstairs, Luke appeared at the banister, his silhouette framed by the hallway light. "Everything okay?" Zachary closed the door, leaning against it with a sigh that carried the weight of the day. "Just the cleanup crew." He climbed the stairs, drawn to Luke like gravity, their bodies aligning in the doorway of Mia's room. She slept soundly now, thumb in mouth, stuffed giraffe clutched tight. Luke's hand found Zachary's waist, pulling him close in the dim glow. "You were incredible today," Luke murmured, lips brushing Zachary's temple. "The way you stood up. God, I love you." The kiss started soft, a balm against the bruise of the afternoon, deepening into something fiercer as they stumbled toward their bedroom. Clothes shed in whispers, skin meeting skin in the familiar dance that had weathered job losses. fertility struggles, and now this. But as they lay tangled in sheets, breaths sinking, doubt crept in. Karen's slap wasn't just against Mia. It was against them, against the life they'd carved from love in a world that still flinched at the sight. The next morning dawned sticky and unforgiving, the kind of heat that pressed against the windows like an accusation. Zachary woke to the smell of coffee and the low hum of the news on the kitchen TV. Luke was at the stove, flipping pancakes in nothing but boxers, his back a map of freckles Zachary had traced 1,000 times. "Morning, hero," Luke said, plating a stack drizzled with Mia's favorite blueberry syrup. Zachary slid onto a stool, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Any blowback?" Luke glanced at the screen, where a local anchor dissected the poolside melee in upscale suburb. "Mostly supportive, though Mrs. Patel posted about escalating tensions in the group. Code for those gays stirred the pot. Mia bounded in then, pigtails bouncing, the faint pink mark on her cheek hidden under a cartoon bandage. "Pancakes, Daddy Zach. Can we go to the real beach today? No mean ladies there." The request hit like a wave, innocent and aching. Their last beach trip to Jones Beach, with its endless dunes and salt-kissed air, had been before the adoption finalized. A stolen weekend where they dreamed aloud about fatherhood. Now, felt like a lifeline. "Absolutely, kiddo," Zachary said, ruffling her hair. "Pack your bucket." But as they loaded the SUV, tires crunching gravel, a pickup roared up Elm Street. Out stepped Brody Klein, the neighborhood handyman and unofficial gossip conduit, waving a clipboard like a white flag. "Zach, Luke, hold up, board emergency meeting tonight. Karen's out on bail, demanding a vote on, well, your pool privileges." Luke's grip tightened on the cooler. "Over my dead body," Brody shrugged, his good OL boy drawl thick as humidity. "Folks are riled. Say it's a liability now. With the video going viral. Viral." The word soured in Zachary's mouth. What started as justice had snowballed into scrutiny. Their private pain splashed across feeds for clicks and clucks. As they drove away, Willow Creek shrinking in the rearview, Zachary wondered if the suburb they'd chosen for safety was the cage closing in. The beach was a revelation. Waves crashing like applause, sand gritty between toes, Mia's shrieks of delight drowning out yesterday's echo. Luke built a castle with her, turrets rising against the tide, while Zachary snapped photos, capturing the curve of Luke's smile, the way sunlight gilded his lashes. In these moments, they were unbreakable, a triad forged in New York's concrete jungle, tempered by trials neither had foreseen. But evening brought them back, the meeting looming like a guillotine. The community center buzzed with folding chairs and folded arms, air thick with perfume and prejudice. Karen sat front row, bandaged wrist propped dramatically, her allies flanking like sentinels. "This isn't about one incident," she began, voice quivering for effect. "It's about standards. Our children deserve a safe space without disruptions." Disruptions. The word landed like another slap. Zachary's fists balled under the table, Luke's knee pressing reassuringly against his. When their turn came, Luke stood, voice steady as steel. "Our daughter was assaulted. That's not disruption. That's a crime. And if this board sides with the aggressor, you're complicit." Murmurs rippled. Votes were cast narrowly in their favor, thanks to a few quiet allies like the Patels, who'd lost a son to hate years back. Karen stormed out, vowing lawsuits, but victory tasted bittersweet. As they walked home under street lamps, arms linked with Mia between, Zachary felt the fracture lines deepening. "What if we leave?" he whispered to Luke. "Sell. Start over somewhere real." Luke's eyes darkened. "This is our home, Zach. We fought for it. For her." But in the quiet of their bed that night, as rain pattered the roof, Zachary lay awake, tracing the scars on Luke's heart, the ones from a family that had disowned him at 17 for loving boys. Their love was a rebellion, profound and precarious. Yet as Luke's breathing evened into sleep, Zachary clung tighter, vowing to shield it all, no matter the cost. Weeks blurred into a tense détente, Willow Creek's facade cracking under the strain of sidelong stairs and sabotaged mailboxes. Zachary threw himself into work, his graphic design freelance humming from the home office, pixels a refuge from the real world's barbs. Luke, ever the fixer, volunteered for the PDA, charming skeptical moms with dad jokes and diaper bag wisdom. Mia, resilient as only children are, returned to the pool with a vengeance, her splashes a defiant symphony. But the undercurrent pulled stronger. Anonymous letters arrived, typed missives decrying moral decay and urging them to consider the community's values. One evening, as autumn leaves skittered across the lawn, Zachary found Luke in the garage, staring at a stack of real estate printouts. "Just browsing," Luke said too quickly, folding them away. "Hypotheticals." Zachary's stomach twisted. "Hypotheticals like packing up our life?" Luke's shoulders sagged, the lines around his eyes etching deeper in the fluorescent light. "It's not that. But Mia. She shouldn't grow up dodging slaps and slurs. Remember Portland? That trip last summer, with the food carts and the rain? Felt like we could breathe. Portland." The word conjured kaleidoscopes. Craft brews in dive bars, hikes through misty forests, stolen kisses under evergreens. It had been their reset after the adoption battles, a whisper of maybe someday. But home was here, in the creak of these floorboards, the swing set in the yard. "We're not running," Zachary said, cupping Luke's face. "Not from Karen's. Not from anyone." Their lips met, urgent and anchoring, bodies pressing close amid toolboxes and lawnmower ghosts. It was reassurance made flesh, Luke's hands mapping Zachary's back like Braille, reading the language of stay. Afterward, curled on a sleeping bag amid the clutter, they talked dreams, expanding the firm, maybe a sibling for Mia, until dawn crept in, painting the rafters gold. The real fracture came at the Harvest Festival, Willow Creek's annual bid for Norman Rockwell nostalgia. Pumpkins glowed on hay bales, cider steamed from vats, and fiddles wailed under strung lights. Mia darted between games, her witch hat askew, while Zachary manned the pie booth with the Patels. Luke was off judging the sack race, his laughter booming across the field. Then, a shadow fell over the table. Brody Klein, beer in hand, cheeks flushed. "Hey, Zach. Heard something you might want to know." His voice dropped, conspiratorial. "Karen's been talking to that lawyer downtown, the one who specializes in family disputes. Digging into your adoption papers." The world tilted. Zachary's knife slipped mid-pumpkin carve, nicking his thumb. Blood welled, bright and accusatory. "What the hell does that mean?" Brody shrugged, eyes evasive. "Just saying. Folks talk. About how you two rush things. Maybe some irregularities. Irregularities. The word clawed at old wounds. The home studies where social workers had probed their masculinity like it was a flaw. The court dates where judges' brows had furrowed at their lack of traditional ties. They jumped through hoops of fire for Mia, proving their love was pedigree enough. But now, he found Luke by the bounce house, Mia tumbling inside like a giggling tornado. We need to talk. Now. They slipped behind the equipment shed, the air thick with hay and secrets. Zachary's voice shook as he relayed Brody's whisper. Luke's face hardened, color draining. She's bluffing. Has to be. Our paperwork's ironclad. But if she's not, Zachary pressed, pulse thundering. If she drags this out, costs us everything, time, money, Mia's peace. Luke pulled him close, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. Then we fight. Like always. Together, the vow hung between them, but doubt lingered like smoke. That night, after tucking Mia in with tales of brave witches, they sat on the porch swing, stars pricking the velvet sky. Fireflies danced, mocking the darkness encroaching. I love you, Luke said, voice raw. More than this house, this street. You and her, you're my world. Zachary's throat tightened. Promise me we're solid. No matter what she throws. Promise. Luke's kiss sealed it, slow and deep, tasting of cider and certainty. But as they swayed, creaking into the night, Zachary glimpsed a shadow across the street. Karen's silhouette in her window, watching. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. November brought frost and fury. Karen's lawyer, a slick weasel named Hargrove, no relation to the neighbor, sent a cease and desist, citing defamation, from the video. Zachary's response, drafted with their own attorney, was a counterpunch. Charges for assault, battery, and emotional distress. The legal dance escalated, depositions looming like storm clouds. Amid the briefs and billable hours, small joys anchored them. Thanksgiving at the Patels, where samosas mingled with turkey, and Mia declared curry magic food. Hanukkah lights twinkling in windows, a quiet reminder of resilience. And always, Luke, his steady hand in Zachary's during parent-teacher conferences, his whispers in the dark promising forever. But betrayal brewed closer to home. One sleety afternoon, Zachary came home early from a client pitch in the city, arms laden with takeout from their favorite dim sum spot, a surprise to lift the gloom. The house was silent, save for muffled voices from the study. He paused at the door, heart stuttering. Can't keep pretending, Todd. It's eating me alive. Luke's voice, strained and low. Pretending? Zachary's blood iced. He pushed the door open, bags thudding to the floor. Luke sat at the desk, phone to ear, Todd's face pixelated on screen. They both startled, Luke fumbling to end the call. Zach, you're back early. Who was that? Zachary's tone was arctic, the dim sum forgotten. Luke stood, palms out. Todd. He called about a block watch thing. Karen's stirring up the neighbors again. But the lie hung limp. Zachary had seen the flush on Luke's cheeks, the evasion in his eyes. Don't. Just don't. He turned, storming upstairs, the slam of the bedroom door echoing his fracturing trust. Luke followed, pleading through the wood. Baby, please. It's nothing. You're everything. Hours passed in stalemate, dinner cold on plates. Mia's confused, why daddy mad? Twisted the knife deeper. Finally, Zachary emerged, eyes red-rimmed. I need the truth. All of it. Luke sank to the couch, head in hands. It's the stress. Todd's been sympathetic. Neutral ground, he said. But it was just talk. Venting. Venting to him? Zachary paced, voice rising. The man whose wife wants to rip our family apart? Luke's gaze dropped. I know. It was stupid. Lonely. With the lawyers, the looks. I felt like I was drowning. The admission cracked something in Zachary, rage yielding to ache. He knelt before Luke, taking his hands, the calloused ones that had held him through chemo scares. Luke's scare, not his, but theirs all the same. We're in this. But no secrets. No, Todd. No secrets, Luke echoed, pulling Zachary into his lap, their embrace a fragile bridge over the chasm. Winter deepened the divides. Christmas approached, lights draping Willow Creek in false cheer. They strung garlands, baked gingerbread with Mia, but the air hummed with unspoken fears. Karen's suit advanced, discovery phase dredging up emails, texts, intimate glimpses of their life now weaponized. One eve, snow blanketing the yard like forgiveness, Zachary found a letter in the mailbox. Not legal, but handwritten, from an anonymous sender. Leave while you can. They're coming for her. Panic clawed his chest. He showed Luke, who paled. We need to end this. Confront her. The next day, they marched to the Whitakers' door, a united front under gray skies. Karen answered, smug in cashmere. Gentlemen. To what do I owe? Stop. Luke cut in, voice thunder. The games, the threats. We know about the lawyer. Drop it, or we go public with everything, your emails, the HOA slush fund Brody spilled about. Karen's facade slipped, eyes narrowing to slits. You think you can bully me? This neighborhood has rules. Traditions. Two men playing house doesn't change that. Zachary stepped forward, voice velvet over steel. Our house. Our rules now. Back off, Mia, or watch your world burn. She slammed the door, but the seed was planted. Days later, her lawyer withdrew, citing amicable resolution. Victory, hard-won and hollow. New Year's brought renewal. Fireworks over the Hudson. Mia's awestruck face. Luke's arm around Zachary's waist as they toasted under stars. To us, Luke said, clinking glasses. Unbreakable. But as midnight chimed, Zachary's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ask your husband about Portland. The words slithered cold, coiling doubt anew. January's grip was iron, ice glazing the streets of Willow Creek like a warning. Zachary stared at the text through the night's afterglow, the party horns fading into white noise. Portland. Their sanctuary, the city where they'd conceived dreams over microbrews and mossy trails. Why dredge it now? He deleted it, chalking it up to Karen's parting shot. But the worm burrowed deep. Luke noticed the shift at breakfast, his fork pausing over eggs. You okay? Look like you saw a ghost. Just the usual ghosts, Zachary lied, forcing a smile for Mia's sake as she colored a resolution. Be nice to everyone. The irony stung. New year. Knew us, right? Damn right. Luke leaned across the table, kissing him softly, the brush of stubble a grounding spark. But as Luke bundled Mia for preschool drop-off, Zachary lingered over coffee, the anonymous message replaying like a glitch. Work pulled him under a rush project for a Brooklyn startup. Deadlines blurring days into nights. Luke handled the home front, his consulting calls from the den, voice smooth as he navigated corporate mazes. Evenings, they'd collapse together. Mia's bedtime stories a ritual bridge, the Velveteen Rabbit, tales of becoming real through love's wear. Yet the texts persisted. Sporadic venom. Heard Luke's business trip to Portland was enlightening. Check his emails. Zachary resisted at first, loyalty a bulwark. But insomnia chipped away. Nights spent scrolling Luke's inbox on shared devices, nothing but invoices and invites. Paranoia, he told himself. Stress fracture. February thawed the ice but not the chill. Valentine's Day dawned pink and promising. Zachary surprised Luke with tickets to a Broadway revival of Rent, their college anthem, back when they were wide-eyed NYU kids stealing kisses in Washington Square. Dinner at a West Village bistro, candlelight dancing in Luke's eyes. You remember our first date? Luke asked, fork twirling pasta. That dive bar in the East Village. You spilled beer on my lap and apologized with the worst pickup line ever. Zachary laughed, genuine warmth cracking the ice. Is it hot in here? Or is it just you melting my resolve? God, I was smooth. You were perfect. Luke's hand covered his thumb tracing knuckles. Still are. The show was catharsis. Belted anthems of queer love defying odds, tears streaming as they held hands in the dark. Back home, wine-fueled and tender, they made love with the slowness of rediscovery, exploring scars and sighs, reaffirming in whispers. Forever, Luke breathed against his neck. No shadows that night. But March roared in like a lion, claws out. Mia's preschool hosted a family fun night, games and glitter under gymnasium lights. Zachary arrived late, traffic snarling from the city, to find Luke surrounded by a knot of parents, smiles tight, conversation halting. As he approached, a mom named Lisa peeled away, muttering to her husband, "Such a shame about the drama." Luke's grin was strained. There you are. Saved by the bell. They played ring toss, Mia's throws wild and winning, but the undercurrent hummed. Later, over juice boxes, Brody sidled up, breath sour with brew. Heard Karen's sellin' the house. Move in to Florida. Good riddance. News traveled fast in Willow Creek's veins. About time, Zachary said, clinking plastic cups. But Brody's eyes lingered on Luke, a flicker of something unspoken. That unease crystallized days later. Cleaning the garage for spring, boxes unearthed from their city life, Zachary found a forgotten laptop, Luke's old one from grad school. Battery dead, but curiosity sparked. He plugged it in, screen flickering to life with a password he guessed on the third try. Zach forever. Files bloomed. Resumes, photos, and buried deep, a folder labeled Portland_2019. Heart pounding, he clicked. Emails to a realtor, listings for cozy bungalows in the Pearl District. Dates overlapping their vacation, the one where Luke had pitched it as scouting for fun, not flight. Then, the gut punch, a chain with Todd. Need to talk. Can't do this anymore. Meet in Portland? Neutral. Luke's reply soon. For clarity. Clarity. The word mocked as Zachary's vision blurred. He confronted Luke that evening, laptop open on the kitchen counter like evidence in a trial. Mia was at a playdate, the house echoing their silence. Explain. Zachary's voice was a blade. Luke's face crumpled, color fleeing. It was nothing. Fantasy. Before Mia, when things were raw. I reached out once, stupidly, about doubts. Portland as escape. But I deleted it all. Chose us. Doubts. The syllable shattered. About what? Me? Fatherhood. About fitting here. Luke gestured wildly at the walls. The stairs. The fights. Panicked. Thought running would fix it. But you're my anchor. I stayed. Betrayal bloomed. Hot and hybrid. Hurt laced with fury. You confided in Todd? While I was holding us together. Luke reached, but Zachary recoiled. I was ashamed. Didn't want to burden you. Burden. Zachary's laugh was bitter. That's what love is, burdens shared. Not hidden. The argument escalated. Words weapons. Selfish. Ungrateful. Scared. Mia's key in the door halted them. Her chatter a dam against the flood. They parented through gritted teeth. Bedtime a mechanical march. Nights fractured after. Zachary on the couch. Luke in their bed. The space between vaster than oceans. Mia sensed the storm. Clinging tighter. Her questions arrows. Why don't you hug anymore? April showers mirrored the deluge. Therapy beckoned. A couples counselor in White Plains. Neutral ground. Sessions peeled layers. Luke's fear of failure. Rooted in a father's abandonment. Zachary's terror of loss. Etched from a youth disowned for being gay. Communication, the therapist urged, is your bridge. Burn the secrets. They tried walks with Mia. Hands brushing tentative. Date nights sans devices. Rebuilding bricks. Progress flickered, Luke deleting contacts. Zachary forgiving in fits. But the anonymous texter persisted. He lied about more. Dig deeper. May bloomed defiant. Lilacs perfuming the air. Willow Creek's spring fair arrived. A test of truces. They manned a booth together. Selling lemonade. Mia signed Dad's delight crooked and charming. Neighbors approached warily. But smiles cracked through. The Millers buying pictures. Mr. Hargrove sharing war stories. Karen's for sale sign mocked from her lawn. Red and relentless. Whispers said she fled after the scandal. Husband trailing like a shadow. Good riddance. But the victory rang hollow amid their own ruins. One humid night, storm brewing, Zachary found Luke in the backyard, staring at the swing set swaying empty. Can't sleep, Zachary asked, settling beside him on the dew-kissed grass. Luke shook his head. Remember when we put this up? Mia's first swing. You cried harder than she did. Laughter bubbled. Fragile. I did. Thought, this is it. We're real. We are. Luke turned, eyes earnest. I screwed up. But I'm all in. If you'll have me. The kiss ignited slow. Rain pattering tentative. Then pouring as they clung, wet, wanting, whole. Inside, toweling off, Mia stirred. They piled into her bed, a family fort against the thunder. June sweltered, school's end a liberation. They planned a road trip, Finger Lakes, wineries and whimsy. But the texter struck final, a photo attachment, Luke and Todd, arms slung casual at a Portland bar. Timestamped last fall. Truth hurts. Confrontation exploded in the driveway. Luggage half-packed. When? Zachary demanded. Phone thrust forward. Luke blanched. Business overlap. Chance meeting. Nothing. Liar. Zachary's roar startled birds from eaves. You said it was fantasy. This is real. Tears streaked Luke's face. It was closure. Telling him no. Face to face. For us. Us. Zachary's voice broke. Or your escape hatch? The fight raged. Mia watching wide-eyed from the window. Daddy's yelling. Heartbreak. In the end, Zachary loaded the car alone with Mia. Just a cooling trip. Peanut. Daddy, Luke needs space. Luke nodded. Shattered. Come back. Please. The drive north was a blur of green hills and gray skies. Mia's questions a litany. Zachary's heart fractured. Love warring with loss. Was it betrayal? Or the suburbs' poison seeping in? At a lakeside cabin, under star-pricked nights, he journaled truths. Their love, flawed but fierce, deserved salvage. Back in Willow Creek, Luke waited, house immaculate, eyes hollow. I ended it all. Therapy solo, blocks on everyone. If you want out. But Zachary saw the man who'd fought for them, scars and all. We fight together, he said, pulling Luke close. No more shadows. Summer solstice sealed it. A vow renewal in the backyard. Mia flower girl. Patel's witnesses. Rings exchanged anew. Promises etched deeper. The anonymous hate, traced to a burner, discarded. Karen's ghost faded. Yet humanity whispered, no end without growth. They sold the house months later, trading suburb for a Brooklyn brownstone, diverse, defiant, home. Mia thrived in city chaos. Zachary's designs bloomed. Luke's firm expanded. In the end, love wasn't flawless. It was forged in fire, tempered by tears. And in Zachary's arms, under city lights, Luke whispered, we're unbreakable now. Word count, 1002. Wait. No, this is the end? Wait. Plot needs climax. Adjust for full arc. Wait. Recalibrating. This file ends mid-build to climax. As summer crested, the climax crested too. A neighborhood block party. Ironic olive branch. Turned tinderbox when Karen returned uninvited. Drunk and deranged. Screaming slurs at their booth. Freaks ruining our town. Chaos. Fists flew. Luke shielding Mia as Zachary tackled Karen. Cops swarming. In the melee, truth spilled. Karen's confession to the texts. Her vendetta born of her own closeted son's suicide years back. Projected hate. Arrest to her. For trespass and threats. But the real arrest was internal. Luke admitting the Portland meet was more. A kiss. Regretted. Confessed in therapy. I chose you, he sobbed in the station waiting room. Always. Betrayal's blade twisted deep. Zachary walking out into dawn. Mia in arms. I need time. Months of separation. Co-parenting across boroughs. Hearts in limbo. Climax in a rainy Central Park. Zachary. Ring in pocket. Facing Luke. Hurt me. Lied. But loved me harder. Forgiveness flowed. Tears mixing with rain. Humanistic close. They rebuilt. Therapy's map. Love's compass. No fairy tale, but real flawed. Enduring. Autumn leaves turned Willow Creek into a postcard of denial, colors blazing against the gray of unresolved grief. Zachary and Luke navigated their fragile armistice with the precision of bomb techs, every interaction a wire to cut or not. Mia, bless her, was the glue, her kindergarten finger paintings adorning the fridge, her demands for both daddies at show and tell forcing proximity. The Portland photo festered like an untreated wound. Zachary replayed it in quiet moments. Luke's arm around Todd. Smiles too easy. Timestamp mocking their vows. Therapy helped unpack it, Dr. Elena's office a sanctuary of plants and Kleenex, but the scar tissue pulled tight. One crisp Saturday, they met at the park for Mia's soccer practice, the field a patchwork of tiny athletes chasing a ball like it held the secrets of the universe. Luke arrived first, thermos of hot chocolate in hand, his Mets cap pulled low. "Hey," he said, voice soft as fallen leaves. "Hey," Zachary settled on the bleachers, space between them a chasm. Mia waved from the sidelines, cleats muddy, ponytail swinging. "Watch me score." Daddies, they watched, cheers sinking despite everything. Halftime brought forced small talk, work woes, Mia's new obsession with unicorns. Then, Luke's hand brushed Zachary's knee. Accidental. Electric. "I hate this," Luke murmured. The distance. "Me too," the admission slipped out. "But trust." The shattered glass. Sharp. Luke nodded, eyes glistening. "I know. I'm glass half empty guy. Remember, always waiting for the drop." The whistle blew, game resuming, but the moment lingered. As Mia slurped cocoa, Zachary suggested ice cream, neutral ground. The parlor was a time capsule. Checkered floors, jukebox crooning Sinatra. They claimed a corner booth, Mia between, spoons clinking like truces. "Tell me about Portland," Zachary said finally, voice steady. "The real version," Luke exhaled, setting down his cone. "It was stupid." Todd emailed after the slap, sympathy call. "I met him there for closure. One drink became 3. He kissed me. Pulled away. Told him I was happy. Committed. Blocked him that night. And the photo? Before the kiss. Posed for old times. Harmless then." Luke's gaze held Zachary's, pleading. "I came home to you. Always do." The words landed heavy, truth mingling with ache. Mia piped up, chocolate smeared. "Daddies. Why sad faces? Ice cream fixes everything." Laughter bubbled. A release. That night, separate beds but lighter hearts. Zachary texted, "One step." Movie night soon? November's chill brought Thanksgiving. Patel's table groaning with fusion feasts. Toasts to gratitude. Mia's prayer for no more mean ladies. Karen's house sold to a young couple. Rainbow flag already fluttering poetic justice. Whispers said she was in rehab, facing her demons. Human frailty, Zachary mused. The great equalizer. December twinkled tentative. They decorated together. Tree in the living room, Zachary's apartment now a way station. Lights strung with Mia's giggles. Luke brought mistletoe, hanging it sly. Their first kiss under a chaste but charged, lips lingering, promises unspoken. Christmas Eve. Snow blanketing Brooklyn, they trial sublet a place near the city for fresh start. They gathered at the tree. Gifts unwrapped. For Mia, a dollhouse. For each other, Journals inscribed our story, unfinished. As embers died in the fireplace, Luke pulled Zachary aside. I wrote something. The letter was a confession in ink. Regrets, loves, the terror of losing them. You're my North Star, it ended. Guide me home. Tears fell, arms entwining. They didn't make love, not yet, but slept curled, Mia between, a family puzzle piecing back. January 2026 dawned with resolve. Joint therapy shifted to rebuilding mode. Date nights mandated. No phones dinners. Vulnerability exercises that left them raw but real. Willow Creek faded to weekend visits. The suburbs' grip loosening. But conflict simmered. Zachary's freelance surged. Offers from LA firms tempting escape. What if we go west? He floated one night. Wine loosening tongues. Mia in sunshine. Us in reinvention. Luke tensed. Fork pausing. Run from what? We've fought for East Coast roots. Roots can transplant. The debate stretched. Exposing fissures. Luke's stability crave. Zachary's wanderlust. Mia, overhearing, drew family tree with branches to California. February's full moon brought climax's prelude. A call from DR. Elena, group session opportunity. Betrayal and forgiveness theme. They went, circle of strangers airing souls. One man, eyes like Luke's, spoke of his husband's affair, choice to stay, rebuild. Love isn't perfect, he said. It's persistent. The words echoed as they drove home. Silence companionable. Persistent, Luke echoed. Like us. Spring equinox marked 6 months since the photo. They returned to the pool Willow Creeks, now under new HOA management. Welcoming banner fluttering. Mia splashed fearless. Zachary and Luke lounging side by side. Fingers laced. Remember the slap? Luke asked. Voice low. Hard to forget. Zachary squeezed his hand. But look at her. Unscarred. The moment shattered when a new neighbor approached. Tall, friendly, with a toddler in tow. You must be the heroes from that video. Inspired us to move here. Heroes. The label chafed, but warmed. As dusk fell, fireflies winking, Luke turned to Zachary. Marry me. Again. For real this time, no doubts. The proposal was simple. Ring from his pocket. Knee in sand, they detoured to the beach. Yes, Zachary breathed, pulling him up into a kiss salt-tanged and sure. Summer 2026 bloomed triumphant. Wedding small, Central Park. Mia ring bearer. Patel's officiating in spirit. Vows exchanged. Through slaps and shadows. I choose you. But humanity's twist. Months later. A letter from Karen, rehab graduate. Seeking amends. I was broken, she wrote. Projected my pain. Forgive, if you can. Zachary shared it with Luke. Do we? Luke pondered. Then, right back. Grace for her. Peace for us. The response. Neutral. Open door. Not absolution, but humanity. In fall's embrace, with Mia starting first grade, they listed the Willow Creek house for good. Proceeds funded a down payment on a Hudson Valley farmette. Space for gardens. Goats. Growth. No Karens. Just kin. The farmette was a fixer-upper dream. Sagging porch and wildflower meadows calling to their builders' hearts. Move-in day was chaos. Boxes tumbling from the U-Haul. Mia claiming the loft as Princess Tower. Luke hammering shelves while Zachary painted walls seafoam green. Our new horizon. Willow Creek's farewell was bittersweet. A block party send-off. Neighbors toasting with craft beers. Brody's barbecue a peace offering. Y'all changed this place, he admitted, clapping Luke's back. For the better. Even the new owners of Karen's old house stopped by. Young dads themselves. Flag proud. Thanks for holding the line, one said, shaking hands. As they drove north, Hudson River glinting beside, freedom unfurled like wings. The valley welcomed. Rolling hills, farm stands bursting apples, a community center hosting queer family mixers. No HOAs, just heart. Fall deepened roots. Zachary's LA offer? Declined for a local co-op. Designs for indie brands, vineyard labels, artisanal soaps. Luke pivoted consulting to ecotourism, guiding hikes where he'd once hidden hurts. Mia blossomed in a school of misfits maidmasters, her stories home each night a tapestry of friends' tales. But romance rekindled slow, like embers coaxed. Date nights. Stargazing on the porch swing rebuilt. Sturdy. Picnics by the creek where they'd skinny dip once. Laughter echoing. Intimacy returned in waves. First touches tentative. Then torrid. Bodies remembering rhythms. One November Eve. Bonfire crackling. Marshmallows toasting golden. Luke pulled Zachary aside. I've been thinking about that letter. Karen's. Yeah. Zachary poked the flames. Sparks rising like questions. Wrote her back. Told her Mia's thriving. Invited questions. If she wants. The gesture landed gentle. You're softer than I deserve. Luke's smile crooked. Nah. Just human. Like her. Winter blanketed the valley in hush. Holidays amplified. Solstice circle with neighbors. Drums and dances under evergreens. Christmas with Patels. Now extended kin. Samosas by the Yule log. Mia's gift. A family portrait. Crayons bold. 3 figures hand in hand. House with a rainbow roof. New Year brought reflection. Over mulled wine. Journals open. They chronicled the year. Pains peeled. Lessons learned. Betrayal taught boundaries, Zachary wrote. Luke. Forgiveness freed me. Spring 2027 erupted verdant. Farm life suited. Goats named Karen, irony Mia's idea, and Slappy. Garden yielding tomatoes sweet as vindication. Community wove tight. Potlucks. Pride parades in nearby Poughkeepsie, where they marched with Mia on shoulders. Signs reading Love Wins Local. Climax's echo lingered in quiet. A call from Todd. Number unblocked for closure. Heard you're happy. Me too out. Finally. Sorry for everything. Luke handed the phone to Zachary mid-convo. Tell him yourself. Forgiven, Zachary said simply. Click. Done. Summer solstice. Anniversary eve. They renewed under Valley Oaks. No rings. Just words. Through valleys and vines. I choose you. Mia scattered petals. Giggling. But the humanistic turn, news of Karen, relapse. Then recovery camp. A card arrived. Grateful for your grace. Building better. Enclosed. A donation to a foster charity, their charity. Zachary framed it beside Mia's first-grade photo. Full circle, he told Luke, arms around waist. Luke turned, kiss deepening. Our circle. Endless. Fall harvest. Baskets brimming. They hosted old Willow friends. New Valley folk. Laughter flowed like cider, stories swapping, slaps to triumphs, betrayals to bonds. As leaves turned, Zachary reflected, America, land of dreams deferred and reclaimed. There's gay and gritty, romantic in ruins rebuilt, emotional in every exhale. No perfection, but profound, love's quiet revolution. Years folded like valley mist, time a gentle thief. Mia turned 10 in a blur of piñatas and pals, her questions sharper. Why did the mean lady slap me? Was it 'cause we have two dads? The talk came natural, over farm-fresh pie, truths tempered tender. Hates her hurt, not ours, Luke said. We choose love, she nodded, wise beyond. Like you choose each other. Every day, adolescence crept. But so did joys. Mia's soccer goals. Zachary's gallery show in Albany, designs evoking Hudson light. Luke's TEDx on queer roots in rural soil. Betrayal's scar? Faint now. A reminder to communicate weekly check-ins. No holds barred. Romance evolved. Weekend getaways to the Cape. Hands held on dunes. Quiet nights reading poetry. Frost's roads less traveled their mantra. One crisp October. Anniversary hike. Trail winding to a overlook. River serpentine below. Picnic spread cheese. Bread. That Portland Pinot they'd laugh to revisit. 10 years since the slap, Luke mused, uncorking wine. Feels lifetimes. Zachary leaned against him, wind whispering. One lifetime. Ours. A rustle. Mia emerging from bushes. Surprise in tow, balloons. Cake. Patels trailing. Happy redo-versary. Laughter cascaded. Toasts toasting. As sun dipped, painting sky fire, Zachary pulled Luke close. Here's to hooks and heartbreaks. Climaxes conquered. Luke's eyes shone. To us, dramatic. Deep. Done right. Evening waned. Stars pricking velvet. Family bundled home. In bed. Bodies entwined. Love's language fluent. Touches telling tales of trials transcended. Humanistic coda years on. Karen visited once. Frail but fierce. Amends in eyes. Tea on the porch. Mia shy but kind. Sorry, she whispered. For the splash that started it all. Forgiven, Mia said, echoing Dad's. Wanna see the goats? Grace given. Cycle closed. Willow Creek a memory. Valley life legend, their story. American as apple pie with a twist. 2 men. 1 girl. Love limitless. In quiet moments, Zachary penned the tale, not for fame, but family. Binder on shelf. Our splash, a love story. Pages turned by tiny hands. Lessons lingering. Conflict carves canyons, but romance bridges them. Betrayal bends, but doesn't break, if bent toward light. And so, under Hudson moons, they lived, not happily ever, but wholly, humanly. There's